All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Camel Cocktail Corner. You have Minnie here, and we have Jesse. Jesse, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
And so, what we're gonna do is we've both seen Deadpool Wolverine. I've seen it twice. Jesse's seen it once, right? Or twice already.
Nope, just once.
Okay. And so, we're gonna give you a review of what we thought about it and spoilers, and we're gonna give some history. I have some videos we could play, a little comic book history, but we'll start off with Jesse's got a bit of an outline that he kind of did, so we'll kind of start off with that and go back and forth on that. So Jesse, I'll let you go first, man. What'd you think of let's start beginning, middle, end. So opening of the movie, what'd you think of it? How'd it look to you?
So let me set the mood. Okay, you
Okay,
can't
set the
just
mood.
jump right into this. I've got to talk about the temperature, the theater, the smell of the popcorn, the
Okay.
the anticipation amongst all people that were there. Previous showings, walking out, looking excited. Other people just trying to go and watch Inside Out 2 because they didn't really know what was going on. Um, so yeah, we first got to the theater, and Fandango said that the movie started at 4:35. So we got there at like just after 4. But apparently that's when the trailers start, and the movie didn't actually start till 5:30. So we were
Absolutely.
trapped.
Yep.
Yeah, we were trapped for the full hour, just absorbing marketing, promos, commercials, everything necessary to get you just excited to see the movie because I'm done hearing about the Ford F-150 Lightning.
Oh my
But
God, yeah. Yeah.
so, I mean, we got our food. We ate pretty much all of our food before the movie even started, but that was good because then we were kind of like, fat, lazy, cathartic. So it made it easier just to sit down and really take in the movie and try not to fall asleep. Thank God, there's a lot of sensory going on. So I finished my chili cheese fries I'd gotten, which were absolutely the saltiest chili cheese fries
Mm,
I've ever had, which paired very well with my exceptionally large 1 liter of Mr. Pibb, which is super
nice.
sweet and 1,000 times better than Dr. Pepper. Don't at me, I will fight you. Pibb wins all the time. Anyway, so no leftovers, stomach suppressed, gassy, everything that you could expect. So
Yep.
now we can go ahead and we can get into the movie a little bit. I will say this. It's a good summer movie. Um, it's great for the whole family, depending on your family standards. I understand rated R might be a little too much, and if we're talking about Deadpool, we're talking about excessive gore and violence. But
It's a definite. It's a hard rated R. It's very
yes,
rated R. It's there's no there's no in
yeah,
between. But yeah, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the opening, it was vibrant, colorful, captivating in some ways. The laughter within the theater was fairly common. I mean, there were even moments when I was laughing that I was like, okay, good skit. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of exciting moments. It's been a while since I've been in a theater where the crowd was like cheering or clapping or shouting along, and so it made it more of an event than anything else, really. So I mean, that's a promising thing. It was thrilling. It was heartwarming in certain parts. Lots of questionable humor, which we highly expect.
Yes.
But I mean, we also know that this thing isn't winning any awards. I don't even think it could win any awards. Maybe costume design. But it was absolute fan service, beginning to end. And in a oversaturated hero market for movies, this is kind of that small break that you need to continue to view those movies with like some level of encouragement to get
Yes.
out there. Don't get me wrong. This was definitely more of the same. It followed the standard hero arc that Marvel has been using for 90% of their films. Um, but it has an edge that we don't necessarily get, and we haven't seen since Deadpool 2. And
And we haven't seen a Disney Marvel rated R movie yet, which
yep,
is a big step forward, which I think by the success of this, it's going to hopefully lead them to continue with certain characters that are rated R. For instance, Blade should be a rated R movie. there should be zero question, being a Red Arm movie. So I think
Well,
that's an
yeah, I totally agree, and it opens up a whole expansion's worth of like ideas that they can use.
yep,
Or when people look at it and we're like, well, we can't quite do that because we're already at our 2 cuss word maximum for PG-13,
yep.
and then they're like, well, why don't we just go all in? So, um, was Deadpool and Wolverine a great movie? No.
No.
Uh, what was it compelling enough to make me go see it again that night, the next day, or the opening weekend? Still no. Did it overwhelm with Easter eggs and cameos? Hell yes. But that's still not enough to make me want to watch it another time. Not until it goes streaming. Then I'll dig deep into it because I felt like I was fairly mentally prepared. And one of the other episodes, we kind of went over what we thought we might see. And I absolutely nailed the whole Wolverine search in the beginning. Maybe I
Yep.
didn't get all the cameos that I thought I was going to get,
Yeah.
but I definitely felt pretty good about that when it started. So I was worried that the movie was going to be too predictable, but
Yeah.
that got tossed out. Um, Deadpool, Deadpool is definitely great once. I watched the first one time in the theaters, watched the second one time in the theaters, and then I watched it at home each time. And I feel like this just kind of hit that rhythm. But yeah, if you want to know what you missed, I'd just wait till streaming, or I'd get on YouTube and listen to the nerds go ahead and do their deep dives because
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna find everything. It
Yeah.
was a
There's
lot to
tons.
take in. Yeah, it was a lot to take in, and um, fans like yourself that need to go again so they can really just like fully envelop themselves. It's a great movie to do that because I know I missed plenty of stuff, but
Yes.
I was just trying to stay in the moment. I wasn't trying to nitpick every detail. Certain things stood out to me, but as a casual viewer for Marvel movies, because I tend to only go one time in a theater and then just wait till it streams, or just wait till it streams, period.
Yeah.
Um, this is that one hit wonder that we needed. And, something new will come out next month that we'll be talking about. But for the next unforeseeable future, it's nothing but Deadpool and Wolverine. Um,
Absolutely. It's only good. The aha moment's only good once. It's just like the Spider-Man No Way Home with the cameos. It's only the first time that you see it. I went twice. I wanted to go the first time because to give background, I had a date night to go the second time, and then my friend's daughter also wanted to go. She was scared to go by herself, so I took her and my wife, and I knew they were going to ask a bunch of questions and stuff. And I wanted just to watch the movie. This is the first time I've ever been in a movie by myself, but I wanted to like watch it and just enjoy the movie and not have to explain. Which the second time I did have to explain, like, hey, this is why this, why that. My wife actually almost fell asleep in the movie a little bit because she was tired from work. But that's why I wanted to see it the second time or the first time on myself because I already knew. Unlike when I went to go see Endgame. Endgame I only went once, but I went with three buddies we all were fans, so I knew there was going to be, hey man, what's that with, you know what I mean? So the first time was awesome for me, but again, watching the second time in theater was like, you already know what's going to come, so it's not as like, oh, cool in the audience. There's a lot of clapping. There are a lot of things I picked up that I missed the first time, which obviously, like you said, like I'm a nerd for it. I do like some of the references that they do. I like some of the comic book references that they get into, obviously, because Ryan Reynolds is a comic fan and Sean Levy, the guy who directed, is a comic book fan. So, they have Patch. The one thing that I love the best, and we'll get into it. So, as you said, Deadpool uses the tent pad to go back to travel to find Wolverines. And the very first one that everyone was laughing at was he goes to a bar and he meets Wolverine. Wolverine hops off a stool. He's only 5'3", and people laughed at it like they were making a joke at Hugh Jackman. It wasn't. In the comics, Wolverine was always short. He was meant to be short and super stocky. So I thought that was great. A lot of people didn't get it. Obviously, those of us that know. I did not like the Time Ripper machine part and the TVA in it. The first part was cool, but at the very end when they brought the TVA back in and they brought B-15, remember from the Loki series, I didn't like it at all. I was like, man, like this should be a complete standalone. Get rid of that shit because it's not good. Um, like you said, the jokes are great. Some jokes are fall flat. Some jokes are good. Um, I do like the Captain America, or not Captain America, but Chris Evans. It leads you into thinking that he's going to reprise as Captain America, and it's not, as Johnny Storm. You know, I think the two cameos that I was surprised for was Wesley Snipes and Jennifer Gardner. Gambit, I was pretty sure was going to be in it for sure. There was no way because Ryan Reynolds and him were besties. Um, I knew everyone. It was out forever. Henry Cavill was going to play a part in it, but Wesley Snipes I liked, and Gardner I thought were really great in it, and it was cool to see Johnny Storm again. I didn't like how they did him, how he fights Pyro, and Pyro takes his fire. I'm like, come on, man. But Evan, obviously, they don't have enough money for Chris Evans to do this whole thing. So, but I don't know. That was kind of my thoughts. I like the ending. I like the way it ended. There was no, at the end of Marvel movies, there's always, hey, this guy will return, or Thanos will return, or Avengers will be back. I like it was just end black screen. Obviously, Hugh Jackman is signed on for a couple other movies, especially with the announcement at the San Diego Comic-Con and Hall H. I sent you a video of it. I don't know if you had seen it yet. RDJ, revealing himself to be Doom, which I think is a complete lie. I don't think he's going to be Doom, but I do like it. I mean, they referenced John Burns as Wolverine when was the brown and yellow when he fights the Hulk. That was good. Was actually written by Todd McFarlane, who also wrote Batman. I like that one. Old Man Logan was cool from Mark Millar. The old man that shoots him, out looks like he's in the Western. Uncanny X-Men, where Wolverine's on the cross and from all skulls. That was a great one. I don't know. I liked it. I didn't like the whole Earth 616 and then the Earth 1005. The Happy Hogan part I didn't think was very good. Thought that was kind of stupid. Like it didn't need to be in there. You know what I mean? My setting for the theater, it was packed for the first showing and the Saturday showing, and it reminded me of Endgame, like people hyped for a movie and excited to see stuff, and it was definitely a fan service movie. The plot line is super thin, like wafer thin. But I do I like how they did it. I definitely like how they gave Deadpool and Wolverine a reason. They had some kind of reason to do what they're doing, versus like, hey, let's just team up and go fuck shit up, What were some highlights of the movie for you that you were like, you really enjoyed?
Okay, so enjoyed. That's a very difficult word.
Okay.
I enjoyed the production. Okay, like so you want to talk about the opening. Let's talk about the opening.
Okay.
Dance pool.
Yes.
No. No.
Yes.
No. No. That was a reach. It was over the top, even for Deadpool, and
Yes.
honestly kind of dumb. But you know what? It's pinnacle Deadpool. Who am I to judge? Plenty of people loved it. My wife loved it. I could do without Dance Pool.
Same.
Like
Cindy loved it too. Yeah.
yeah, and talking about the Cavalrine. Oh
Yes.
God, my wife was like, yes, that's who it needs to be. We can move on from Hugh Jackman, and then at the very end when we get to that part, obviously Hugh loses his costume in a certain way that my
Oh
wife
yeah.
was like. My wife's like, yes, that was the fan service for her, and I was okay with that because I was honestly expecting a Lost City Channing Tatum butt scene, so I'm okay with just throwing out the goods. But yeah, you talked about it. Was there really a plot in this movie? Because I certainly didn't find one. Deadpool really wasn't Marvel Jesus.
No.
In fact, you could have honestly probably had any other Deadpool from any other universe, and the ending still would have been the same,
Yes.
given a certain set of skills. And
Yes.
so, we just focused on this one. And of course, who wouldn't want a movie with somebody other than Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool? So obviously, that's not us.
Yeah.
That's why it makes sense. But the idea that the TVA never picked Deadpool out of a dying universe. Nothing happens. The TVA watches this one flicker off their screen. The Ripper proves useful. The big bad never had a reason to leave the void. Like there's no real plot to this because
Yeah, and they're
they're
never and paradox like, hey, the higher ups
yeah,
picked you, like of all the character, like it just
yeah,
come on.
no. But I mean, Deadpool, at least this one um, didn't get turned to spaghetti as we saw in like Loki.
Yes,
Um, so outside of that, I mean, like the plot was more of what it should have been, and it was just a buddy flick. Like,
yeah,
that's all we really cared about. There didn't need to be a big bad. There didn't need to be a Ripper. There didn't need to be the TVA outside of a means to an end.
yeah.
Which,
I think Cassandra
yeah.
Nova was a good bad guy. I think she could have been the
Oh
baddie.
God, Emma Corrin was amazing in her very small role. We're talking an incredible villain. We already know the story. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, and she had some of the best immediate character-driven storylines that could have been used throughout the MCU. Like you could have a whole nother thing. Like we don't need Avengers, uh, but they just wasted another villain, another
They did.
great villain, and it was gone way too soon. And basically, we had a truly terrifying creature that was downplayed so much that because Marvel just didn't want to expose the potential, her potential, and to end things as quickly as they did, just to see these heroes grow together. I mean, again, Emma was amazing in her portrayal. And I just feel like we need more of her and we need more of what Cassandra could do.
I
And
thought that so I think the part where she gets into Deadpool's mind, and at the end when she gets into Wolverine's mind, like really gets into his mind, and the way the dichotomy that he has with her, like, hey, Xavier would have hunted the world for you. Like I thought that was so good, and then just it fucking ends. I'm like, come on, because Wolverine's finally like, hey, I am the X-Men. Like I thought it was so good, could have been built on, and then Pyro
yeah,
just shoots. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like fucking ruined it. Fuck. And why did they give him a good part? Like they had Lizard, they had all of them. Like they were like no speaking lines. They're in, they're out, which I liked, quick and easy. But Pyro, man, like of all the minions that she could have, like it was, yeah, I thought it was such a waste. I thought she was incredible. The last good villain that I saw like that has been really with Thanos. Like the really good, like Charles, Brolin played that villain very, very well. I thought very, very well. You know what I mean? But
I'm
I
still a fan
was
of Christian Bale, but yes, you're right.
yes,
Thanos.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
But it just same thing with like we talked before. Christian Bale wasn't used good, as Gore the God Butcher. So I totally agree. Complete waste. I was so excited to see her. I thought she played it well. I was worried about how they were gonna. I was like, man, don't make her, the boss girl. I'm woman, hear me word. No, she's a powerful fucking being, and I thought they did great with it. But yeah, the ending, she was in and out of the movie. I was like, come on, man. Like, you know,
yeah. No,
yeah, no, I totally agree.
and I think that's part of the reason why I didn't really enjoy most of the movie because I
Yeah,
was like, oh, this is great. Like we're gonna see her sometime in the future. I mean, yeah, we've got a multiverse. There's so many ways
still
that we
garbage
can
though.
have her. Yeah, but come on now. Like her story, her background of living in the void
Time out real
and
quick.
being oh, yep, go
I
ahead.
gotta go get the kiddo real quick. Hey, if you still want to talk to the camera, by all means, keep going.
Hi, this is me. No. Um, okay, fine. Let's see here. Cameos. Lots of cameos. Uh, I mean, again, excited to predict that I was able to get the Wolverine search montage. Um, the height correct Wolverine was great. I think it would have been even better if it was Daniel Radcliffe, but maybe they couldn't afford that one. Um, there were so many call outs for the comics, so many notable names. The Calvarine, as we talked about, which, like, I mean, I could see it. If they want to take on a new Wolverine for a new X-Men, why not get the largest person you can find to do it? Bringing back X-23 slash Laura. I was really happy to see Daphne Keene back in it. even if it's just for this film.
I think so. Rook, on that, we talked about this before. I thought she was gonna have a much bigger role to carry on into Secret Wars and other movies. Because they're gonna do X-Men versus Avengers. They're gonna do it.
Well,
I thought she'd highlight more.
I think they kind of established her, or excuse me, reestablished her, which was great. So they have the opportunity to bring her back because she was saved at the end with the group
Yeah,
around the table.
yeah,
So there's opportunity, and if not, I mean, obviously we've validated that there are multiple Wolverines. There are probably multiple X-23s.
yep.
So I feel like she'll get a call back, if nothing less than just for the fact that she's earned it with her portrayal in Logan. Like,
And she's
just
young enough.
yeah, and just as an actress as a whole, the way that she took on that role, and she's done other things to include the Acolyte, which is great because I'm just excited to see her because I was genuinely like invested as her or in her as an actress moving forward that we might get
Well,
something good.
and we talked about it too at the end of Logan. Like I thought that was going to carry on because you have a young actor. Like, but yeah, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to add that. Yeah,
No, yeah. I mean, it was fun to see Wesley Snipes, as you said, and I get the callback to Trinity or Blade Trinity.
yeah, yeah.
And they brought in Jennifer Garner. I was hoping they would bring in Jessica Biel, and then we could have all three of them back together. Like,
Well,
you know, yeah, like,
it's funny how he finds out Daredevil's dead, and he's like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "Yeah, it's okay." Referencing like they were together in a movie, they were married, got divorced.
yeah.
So Gambit. Let's talk Gambit real quick. What'd you think of
Okay.
Gambit?
Before we do anything, this is a non Channing Tatum, non Gambit trash zone. Okay, I absolutely love Gambit. He's been in my top three for favorite characters. He is third behind Deadpool and Silver Surfer. And having Channing Tatum finally be able to do the role that I'd heard so much about like 10 years ago that was gonna happen, and never did. And you know what? Horrible accent and all, I absolutely loved it. Do we need him? No.
No,
Do we want him? Yes. I mean, I was so excited. Like that was one of the times when he came walking in. I was like, yeah. Oh man, I was pumped at that point. And
I
you know what? I love how yes, they made him look like he was less of a superhero. But when he was fighting, he was doing exactly what you would expect Gambit to do.
in the game, literally in the game, you could do that with the cards. Like that was the only thing I didn't like about him was the accent. Everything else I loved. That accent I couldn't stand.
The over the top accent is
Yeah,
exactly what I wanted. And we're talking about a Deadpool movie. We're talking about everything being over
I
the
know,
top.
I know.
Yeah, and that's why I loved it. It was so great to finally see Channing Tatum take the role of Gambit and make it somewhat worthwhile. Like I'm sure there are other actors out there that could absolutely kill a Gambit role.
Well,
I'm
they had the other
sure.
guy that did it before, and
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
I
about.
can't
I
think of
can't
his
remember.
name, but he did it, and I didn't think he was that good in it. I didn't at
Um,
all.
Now,
But
I mean, for all we know, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Gambit as well as everybody else in the Marvel
yeah, I know.
universe.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ, yeah.
but yeah, for the most part, I mean, I absolutely loved it. I mean, did I like seeing Chris Evans again? Sure. Did I love the fact that he was the Human Flame or Human Torch? Excuse me. Once again, okay, that was great. Did I really absolutely love the end credit scene with him cooking Cassandra?
That was legit.
I was like, I I know it's just a role to this guy, but I can feel like Chris Evans is truly talking about somebody he
That
despises,
was
and
great.
he's just using the role because it just came out so smooth.
And
So
with that thick Boston
yeah,
accent, that was
uh,
great. Yeah.
I mean that had to have been one of the best end of credit scenes in a very long time, and it had nothing to do with any future
It was just a
consideration.
good, funny 2-minute skit that was great.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that was in essence, if anything, the true glorious purpose of Deadpool
Yes,
was to
yes,
have a moment like that where we're all like, "Damn, Chris Evans, all right, man, let it
yeah.
out. Who hurt you?" So, I mean, my favorite part of the entire movie, outside of the Channing Tatum, just because that's my like man crush, the Deadpool corps. Having all of them come out with a lot of notable ones: Dogpool, Lady Deadpool, Cowboy Pool, Headpool, Canada Pool, Deadpool 2099, Ronin, Golden Age, Zen
Yep.
Pool. Like every single one of them, I
Shogun.
was just like, yeah, I was
Yeah,
just like going through, like, oh my
yeah.
god, oh my god. Apparently, they had Welsh Pool from their
They did.
Wrexham
Yep,
football team,
yep.
and I mean, all of them, like, it was nice to see all of them. It was nice to see them put together in some way.
Nice
And
pool.
yeah, I was gonna say, Nice Pool was a great consolation as well. Like, I
Yes.
mean, you you just gotta enjoy that, and it, it was nice to see Nice Pool in a way, because it filled that gap.
Yeah.
We needed that,
Sorry.
that
I'm kidding.
eye sterilization in between
Yeah.
certain scenes. And even though he was ruthlessly murdered, I mean,
I Deadpool wanted him dead for the dog and those guns, man. Like it was the funniest shit. Like
yeah,
people die. He's like holding the dog, dog pool. People die. Just saying. Like just it's so good.
yeah. But yeah, I
So
mean, the ending was predictable, down to topless Hugh Jackman. I mean,
yes,
we all knew he was gonna lose an article of clothing at some time.
of
So
course.
my expectations weren't that high. I mean, I expected a little bit more TVA shenanigans,
Yeah.
but maybe it's good that that didn't happen. Um, I mean, we could have gone 1,000 different directions. So
The
why
only thing
not?
the only thing I don't like about TVA, so like even like at the beginning, Deadpool gives you a quick like 3-minute synopsis of what happened in Deadpool 2 for people who hadn't seen it. Had they done a better job with the TVA, kind of explaining to them? They tried with Paradox, but I think it just fell flat. I don't think it was very well done. And again, I don't think it should have even happened at all. Had they just used the character to come back, like, hey, you fucked up everything, man. Like you gotta go back. So I would have liked it better.
Yeah,
Especially at
not
the end, B-15 comes out and it's like, hey, the anchor point's good, but we're looking at this. I was like, come on, man, get away from this shit, man. Like, you made fun of Disney Marvel for the whole movie, and at the end, you're literally doing what Disney Marvel did. That was my
yeah. I feel like the
problem
TVA
about it.
was what was necessary to show, and I love how they kept kind of like trying to reinforce, like, we didn't retcon Logan, like
Yeah,
Logan's dead,
yeah,
like, so I love how they kind of made that an emphasis through the TVA, and to really help the fanboys and the nerds alike to understand, like, hey, that movie still means something.
yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, I was just, I don't know, maybe I was thinking they would go a little bit more into why the TVA needed him, instead of, oh, we just randomly picked you.
That
You
what I
know?
said earlier. It never explained like why are you picking Deadpool? Like, there's thousands of other Wolverines that you could use. Like again, so I know you said your favorite part. My favorite part was Wolverine donning the mask, and then I liked. Again, I'm a fanboy. I'm a nerd. I love them. Actually, I brought a whole bunch of my comics that I have here at the house that on my storage I was going to show, but I'll do that another time. But him putting the mask on, I thought was finally an homage to like what we've wanted for 20 years. I do like at the beginning when Deadpool finally runs into him, he passes out and he goes to pick him up and he's like, "Ooh, nice pajamas." And he looks at the camera, he's like, "It only took you 20 fucking years," which was like a complaint everyone had. And the reason why they didn't do it was because back when they made the first X-Men was when the Matrix came out, and everyone thought black leather was like the way to go. That's why they kept him in those costumes. So that was my highlight. I thought it was great, especially with the Madonna music in the background. And right when he puts it on, you hear it. I thought was great. I do like at the end also when they're they're defeating Cassandra Nova and they're holding hands and you see the power meter going up and down, and they kind of look at each other like, hey, like we belong doing this. I thought that was pretty cool too. But the rest, I was like, that's such a fucking waste, man. Like, God, you know.
Well, so I did love the salute to the Fox era during the credit roll.
Oh, that was great. That was beautiful.
That
Yeah.
that was a nice touch. And while most of those movies were trash before they were ever seen,
Yes.
it did give us a lot of iconic characters that were brought to life that made us want more. And Marvel was able to learn from those lessons from like the X-Men series on how to make a superhero movie that has a higher quality to it, whether it was the story initially or it was the actors or the portrayals.
Yeah.
I mean, we finally like invested ourselves. We like handcuffed ourselves to certain characters, but it was all because of that, and all because of those original. Like, I mean, not everybody is a Professor X, Charles Xavier,
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart, perfect merge. You got to find these guys, and so like I'm thankful for that, and I'm sure the actors are as well. And I really thought that was probably the best touch that they could have had at the end of the movie.
And they did that final thing. They actually put 20th Century Fox at the very,
Yeah,
very end, which I thought was very, very classy as well. And I mean,
yeah.
think about, like you said, it was made back in the day. That's where Kevin Feige got his start, and a lot of the directors did. Um, Also, I think hopefully this reminds them of like what got popular versus like what some of the stuff that we've been served right now, which is like, you know, um, I know you have about 15 minutes left, so I want to move on to the RDJ
Before
Fantastic
that,
Four.
I have one question about the movie. Okay,
Okay.
well, Wolverine don his mask was the big thing. You
Yes,
exploded when it happened.
I did.
You, yeah, you literally turned into confetti.
Oh gosh,
Um,
yeah.
so is Thor an actual future scene in the MCU that we're going to get? Was that really a foreshadowing? Is that the real takeaway from this? Because the real ending isn't necessarily Wolverine and Deadpool being together and defeating Cassandra. The real ending is when Deadpool shows us the Johnny Storm colorful exchange, he's back in the TVA. So is he now like in charge of something? Does he have access to certain things? Like,
I
it's just
agree, and here is the senior referencing. So when Deadpool goes up to the TVA, he's looking on the screens. They show the Avengers and Captain America, and he salutes them. And there's a scene that it's literally from this scene when Loki dies in Thor's hands, and he's crying. And instead of Loki, it's Deadpool, and Thor's crying. And it's an updated picture because the Thor, like the line in his eye, is all completely different. And Ryan Deadpool references it in the movie the entire time, which I thought was telling, very curious.
yes.
I don't know. I do find it, again, I don't want to look too much in the future with it, but the fact that he still has the tent pad at the end of the movie, there's a reason for that, because they're at least they were very meticulous on Easter eggs, why they came in the movie, certain callbacks. There's a reason why they end with the TVA, which again I didn't like, but they ended with the TVA. Hey, we'll look at in the future. We'll look at what we could do for these guys. Brings X-23 to Earth 1005. So I do think there's some kind of thing that's going to happen, and I do believe that he's gonna. That's the way they're going to tie Deadpool in to the Secret Wars movie with that tent pad and what happened with Thor. So I do think it's going to be some kind of future thing. I do.
Yeah. No, that was the one thing that I was just like,
And I base it on this. So they announced there's a Thor 5. This has been announced. I don't know if that's really going to happen. The movie's getting announced all the time.
yeah, I
But
saw the release plan.
yeah, so there's going to be a Thor 5. So I'm very curious on how they do with that. But I don't know, man. So that's my thoughts. I think it has a play. What it has a play in, I'm not sure. I thought that was very odd to have that in there, that little snippet, which I do think is a lead on. Also, I would, one of the things I would also mention is now that this Wolverine is in Earth 1005, not back in his own timeline, how does he carry forward? Because he's going to. Kevin Feige already said, hey, we're not recasting Wolverine for a while. It's been published that Hugh Jackman signed on for at least 2 more movies. So I'm curious how they tie all that in.
Until he's 90.
I believe it. Which
Yeah.
this kind of ties into. So I won't play the video, but at the San Diego Comic-Con, one good thing, they're bringing the Russo brothers back to write movies and direct, which they did Endgame, Infinity War. They did Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War, which I think were the more top tier movies in the whole entire thing that they did. And they're talking and they're like, yeah, we're gonna we have to have the perfect actor for Doom. And they have all these people in Doom costumes in the back, and one walks up, takes his mask off, and who is it? Robert Downey Jr. And the whole entire crowd goes fucking nuts. He's going to be Doom. Now, in the comic books, Tony Stark, there was a variant of Tony Stark that became Doom. I don't think he's going to be Doom at all. I think he's going to be Iron Man. And I think they're hiding it because everyone knew that Robert Downey Jr. was talking with Disney to come back. He's going to get an $80 million payday. He's going to have his own security private jet. He is so they teased the Fantastic Four. He's going to be in a post-credit scene for Fantastic Four. They also teased, finally, I've been talking about this forever, Galactus. They finally teased Galactus in the Fantastic Four, which they should have done in the first one, but they didn't do it. But they're going to have to tie it all together anyway with Secret Wars and with I forgot the new movie they're going to do, but I don't know. What do you think of RDJ being Doom? What's your opinion, your thoughts?
Well, first, the more exciting news was seeing Galactus physically,
Yes.
not a cloud. That's more important than whoever they cast for Doctor Doom.
Yes.
Because that is a true Avenger level threat that you could use in the future. Not to say that that's what it's going to be. I really honestly don't see Galactus taking on the Avengers, but the fact that you could have something like that creates a Doctor Doom to create an Avenger level threat.
So I just looked. It's going to be Avengers Doomsday and then Avengers Secret Wars is the order of them.
I am so happy they're doing Secret Wars.
I hope they don't fuck it up though, man. The way they did the TV show was
again. Had they just done episodes 1 through 5, never showing you who was one of them, and then episode 6 being like, we've got to figure it out together. Who is on what side? And having like Samuel Jackson at that time then have to try and figure out. So we didn't have the knowledge that he didn't have. It would have been so much more of a thriller. It would have been so much more captivating. Like why didn't we write it like this? I'm not a writer, and I immediately thought, why are they showing this right now? Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Besides the point of hating that and hoping that Secret Wars, whatever that movie set series might be, I'm hoping for the best for that. I'm done with Robert Downey Jr. And maybe it's just me because he did Iron Man so well. He did Tony Stark so well, and he got his ending. And now, comic books, no one's dead forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless of course you happen to be a certain uncle of a certain Spider-Man, in which case you're always dead. Every universe, yes.
Yeah. Or Ant.
But yeah, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you're telling me that there's literally no one out there better suited to take on Doctor Doom than Robert Downey Jr. And I've got no problems with actors being in certain universes taking on multiple roles because it's happened before, it'll happen again. But for real, like, yeah, it's got to be a front to cover up some sort of Iron Man cameo that they're about to unleash on us that we don't know about. It's got to be from the series where Iron Man and Doctor Doom are basically the same, or it's literally, in my mind, one of the worst decisions that they've made in casting. Will he be a great Doctor Doom? I'm sure he will. Do I want to go see the movie now because I know he's Doctor Doom? Nope.
No, not at all.
I do not care. I want to see the newer faces. I want to see, because I already know that looking at Robert Downey Jr.'s work throughout his entire career, we're gonna get Tony Stark as Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
That's how he's
and
not going to take on that role the
and
way that
and
we.
yeah, and he's 60 years old already. I again, I totally agree with you. I could see, the only thing I could see, he was a cameo as Tony Stark in the series because, again, like we talked about before, him kind of guiding the Avengers, which he did. He was part of the council. But I was like, same thing. I was like, of all the people, like Cillian Murphy was the first thought I had for Doctor Doom. His face, his bone structure, the way the
Yeah.
mask is, I thought it'd been great. And I mean, is it cool? He's gonna come back? Yeah. Am I like, oh my god, I gotta go see it now? Like, no, I'm more interested that the Russo brothers are writing the movies and directing them versus Robert Downey Jr. coming back. Which again, that tells you that's a Marvel saying, yeah, we are in deep, deep shit. We need some of our old, to come back to help save us because we're drowning right now and we don't have a good future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that, like, I know that he doesn't fit the persona whatsoever. But I think Doctor Doom, if you could find somebody with a Christopher Waltz like delivery, that would be a
Yeah,
great Doctor Doom.
that would be a great one too. Yes, no, I agree. The I can't think of the guy, but he was one of the doctors in Doctor Who. He also was in GI Joe, the bad guy in GI Joe, the very first one. I can't think of his freaking name. Now I gotta look it up.
I
I,
never watched GI Joe.
I did. It was, come on. It was it was a time. It was a time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
it was a Capaldi, Smith, Tennant. Like,
I can't think of his freaking name. I'm looking it up. So on to your Doomsday thing. I'm very curious. So they've already said they're gonna cameo Doctor Doom in the end credit scene for Fantastic Four. They're gonna have the Silver Surfer, not the Silver Surfer, one that
yeah,
fucking
I'm okay. I'm okay with any Silver Surfer acknowledgement.
I don't. So this is I don't think they should have Silver Surfer or Doom. Well, Doom I can see at the very end, but it should just be a basic Fantastic Four movie. They had such a great run. Next one, then you bring in Silver Surfer.
Well,
They always
yeah,
they try to pack too much into one movie, and you lose the importance of it.
well, and I accept that, and I think that yeah, having the Silver Surfer be an end of credits of this one, bumping into the Fantastic Four, and then giving that acknowledgement of why Silver Surfer is there as an omen to having Galactus come in. But I mean, I feel like they're in a hurry up and run moment because they're trying to set the stage for something. So this is, I feel like Fantastic Four is going to be basically it's a filler episode, but it's
Yes,
just a movie. And I mean, my
hey, the
my
guy
hopes are not
was
high.
Christopher
Oh,
Eccleston.
Eccles.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
who. Yep.
Okay.
But he was another one I thought he could be a perfect Doctor Doom, like perfect Doctor Doom.
He he's
His
got a good look
delivery,
to him.
because even in Doctor Who, he was more of a darker Doctor Who than the other ones versus Capaldi, all of them. I think it was a much darker Doctor Who portrayal by him
Yeah.
as an actor. But that was the guy. So not to cut you off, sorry, but
Okay.
yeah,
No,
but
no,
yeah,
no. Yeah. I should have known he was only there for a season. He had to
I
have
know.
something else to
That's
do.
why I
Yeah.
couldn't think of his name, man. He wasn't,
Yeah.
a long run. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's a mistake them packing Silver Surfer and again, I could
Yeah.
see at the very end, like that ties into your next movie. Okay. But man, like you're reintroducing the Fantastic Four, the first family Marvel, like should be just
Well,
them.
so isn't this like chronologically like in the past though? So
Mhm.
maybe yeah. So maybe they're just kind of like trying to establish things, kind of show what a certain threat level is, and kind of build onto what would have made the things like the Avengers in the future, like that
Maybe,
lesson learned. And maybe
maybe,
they're just trying to, yeah, they're just focusing on this one specific day.
but I'm
You're not,
worried though. I am worried though. They're gonna do like what happened with Justice League, the movie. You put all your characters in one movie and it bombs because no one knows who they are. like the Fantastic Four, there's a lot of story to them you could build up and how they, because they're not a team at the beginning. Like it takes forever, you know. Again, they travel to space and all. I don't know. Hopefully, if they have Silver Surfer, I want it like the last 5 minutes in the movie, like, and it's a hook. Like, remember Infinity War? They're like,
Maybe maybe that's what they were doing. Maybe we're gonna get
maybe,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
we'll
hope
get the
so.
Fantastic Four. They'll build up their characters.
I
They'll
hope so.
have
Yeah,
some small bad that they have to take on, and then at the end, that Galactus teaser we saw, maybe that's the last
maybe.
5 minutes,
Hopefully,
and
hopefully.
then maybe the end of credit scene is Doctor Doom coming up saying, "Hey, I think I know how to do this."
Yes, hopefully, hopefully.
And that could make it work. Don't get me wrong, you're still hitting fast forward, but
Yeah, you
uh,
are. But
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm hopeful for the future with Marvel. I'm not ecstatic as I once was, and it's not to do with the oversaturation of the market because they've cleaned that up. We're no longer getting 10 movies a year.
that's 3 this
Um,
year. This,
yeah,
yeah,
we're no
yeah.
longer getting the 5 series, and I don't feel as compelled to have to see all of them to understand the
The
story.
movies. Yep.
Yeah. But like nothing's gotten me excited to go to the movie theater since, Deadpool.
Yeah,
And I'm most likely, just like everything else, I'm just gonna wait for it to come on Disney Plus because it's like I don't want to deal with the theater. I don't want to deal with other people making weird comments or smelling funny because they don't know how to shower or just being overall rude. I don't need to deal with that, especially when I know if I wait, depending on how good the movie was,
yeah.
if I wait a month to 3 months, it's gonna be there, and I'm gonna be able to watch it from the comfort of my home on my 82-inch TV screen and just enjoy with the quality, the silence, the comfort, and like that's the thing. Marvel's got to do something to get me out of this couch to go to that couch, and unless of course the writing changes and they start doing things a little bit more with the hook, something that catches you off guard that you didn't expect. It's not going to change because literally every Marvel movie is basically the same thing.
It
It's
is.
just yeah.
It is. And the one thing that I hate a lot of the Disney Plus shows and movies, you know, the directors and actors get out there and they talk shit about their own fans, and they're like, yeah, we, you know, like Marvels, you know, we did this to as a fu to the fans because, you know, man, like, dude, just make a movie and shut up. Like, give it, you know, obviously you want to have a good story and you want to give fan service because that's your main audience. But I agree with you. Like, no one wants to spend, you know, to go to the movies for, you know, 3 people. It's $60 for tickets, then food or popcorn. And like you said, like same thing when I saw Deadpool. I got there, the showing was 3, movie didn't start till almost 4:30. So when I went the second time with Cindy, I was like, hey, we're gonna go like a half hour before because the movie, I think our movie was noon. I was like, hey, we'll get there at 1. And there was still, they still had two more trailers to go. And we had reserved seats, so I wasn't rushed, but it was like, God, man, like God, like, you know what I mean? Like shit. And it's not even, you get some trailers, but now it's all commercials. Like, dude, I could stay home and watch commercials, man. Like, you remember the old theater, like the old movies was some movies you're like, oh man, I'm excited. Like, I was surprised they didn't show Beetlejuice trailer for this one. Like they showed it for when we saw Despicable Me 4, they showed Beetlejuice as a trailer, but they didn't on this. Like Beetlejuice is tailored more to the adult audience. But yeah, I totally agree with you,
Yeah,
man.
different production.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm just, it just, yeah, nothing excited. Like, oh, I have to go see it. I really want to go see it. Like Deadpool Wolverine. I wanted to go see A for another Deadpool movie. A was getting a R rating, and C to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again. I was excited to see it. Like, I hope they do it right. I hope they don't, you know, touch Logan because that was a great send off. Um, but you know, at the end of the day, man, money's money, and actors are gonna come back. That's RDJ. Like, it's literally when he came on as Doom, I was like, he's not Doom. I guarantee you, he's gonna reprise Iron Man again, 100%. And then Chris Hemsworth, and like we were talking about earlier, I think he's already coming back for Thor 5. Who's not to say he's gonna do another movie or two? And you know, with the Avenger, I don't know. The only one that I know wouldn't come back would be Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. She sued Disney, but everyone's got their price, I would assume, you know, and who knows? So overall, on a 1 to 10, what would you rate the Deadpool Wolverine movie as we close out? Because I know you got to get going.
As a movie, 6. As an event, 9. So going to the theater, being part of that
Yeah,
opening night, yes, that was great. I wouldn't have had it any other way. If I'd gone to see it for the first time tomorrow, a week after it opened, the theater might have enough people. It might be sparsely populated. It would have
you
been,
wouldn't get that same feel.
yeah, it would have been
Yeah.
less. So me watching it tomorrow, it's a 6 because then I'm just watching the movie. I'm not
Yeah,
experiencing.
that's the big thing, the rewatchability of it. I gave it an 8. I thought it was great. Again, at the theater, again, like watching it the second time, it was awesome. The crowd was awesome, but it doesn't have a great rewatchability. Now, of course, I'll watch it on streaming because it's a movie I want to watch. But I gave it an 8 only for the fact that I do like how they were very, again, the plot's super thin, but they didn't at least fuck the characters over, and they gave a lot of fan service for people that have been wanting Channing Tatum, Blade, Electra. I was like, I haven't heard a lot of people like, oh my god, I really want to see Electra again, But I thought it was good. So I did like that part, and I do like that. You could, I mean, obviously you could tell it was a Disney Marvel movie, but it was a lot of Ryan Reynolds in it, like with the jokes and some of the stuff was really good. So I gave it an 8. I liked it. I thought it was good. I was happy I went to go see it. But again, I don't see any movies in the future. I'm like, oh my god, I really, really want to go see this,
Yeah.
So, but all right, we'll end the recording here.